Hello, my dear viewers. I broke my game again. I just wanted to have some fun with the Summermyst Enchantments, so I went for double effect on every item and I broke my game again. Well, at least this character is a bit low on HP, so you have to be careful sometimes. This build is inspired by the Lord of the Rings lore, specifically the characters of Dark Riders, or the Nazgul, which were ancient kings of men corrupted by the 9 rings of power. They are neither living nor dead. They are a race subjugated to darkness, bound to stay between life and death forever. They are also known for the ability to incite fear, so we will focus on fear spells and effects. And the greatest of them, the Witch King of Angmar, uses some sort of dark magic, sometimes called the Morgul sorcery. The Morgul blade that was used to stab Frodo Baggins in the Fellowship of the Ring apparently has a power to poison and gradually turn its victims into wraiths, similar to the Nazgul themselves. We will try to represent that with enchantments and Andromeda ritual stone abilities. This is a modded build, and the list of required mods is now on screen. The crucial ones are the Andromeda and Summermyst mods. This build manipulates souls of those he slays with utmost mastery, and the Summermyst Enchantments is where most of the power comes from. The other 2 mods are only for aesthetics, and I must say, these Lord of the Rings weapons look just fabulous. They are so sweet, I am keeping them in my load order forever. Alright, but what does this build do exactly? Well, first of all, it causes everything to rout. Through spells and enchantments, it sends everything away from you. If the enemies survive your dual-wielding fury and resist the fear, they will have a chance to die of heart attack or something if they stay near you for too long. And if they run away and leave combat, they will probably die from massive ongoing damage. Either way, they will die and join your side as ghosts. Neat. The backstory will be rather short, as the Nazgul of the Middle-earth are rather mysterious and little is known about them, and I would like to keep it that way, but let's tell the story anyway, to set the tone properly. Dark have been your dreams, the dreams of cold death, vague, scattered memories of the bygone age, when you were a king, or a jarl, a leader of men, and a powerful sorcerer. Empires rose and crumbled since you were defeated, and cursed by your enemies to sleep forever, neither dead nor living. You slept in the depths of Skyrim, in your old tomb, guarded by the living dead. But times have changed. The fabric of the universe has been disturbed by the black wings unfurled, the wings of the World Eater. He returned with vengeance and the hunger to swallow the world. You do not understand how it relates to you. You do not know why you were awakened. But the truth remains that for the first time in millennia, you felt the need to stand and take up your ancient weapons again. The blades of malice and curses that slayed countless mortals in the days before history. The strength of men and mer will be shattered again. The fear will rise in Skyrim, and you will rule in glory and despair. The curse that was used to punish you will now be turned against Skyrim and her people. So in order to go with the story, you'd probably need to add some mod to start as a vampire, and being a vampire, even without the Vampire Lord transformation, will be very beneficial to this character. Just stay away from the sun if you can, and it will be all just fine. The race of choice should be a Nord, as the frost resistance will combine with the resistance granted by your vampirism, and the racial power will enable your basic fear-based playstyle from level 1. The standing stone of choice is the ritual, as it goes with the theme of Morgul necromancy quite well and gives you summons without the need to train in conjuration skill, as people and creatures will die around you all the time. You will always have a supply of bodies to raise your vengeful spirits from. It's an endless loop of terrifying dark power, as it should be for a Nazgul. The attributes are a bit problematic here, as it is a hybrid character, and depending on your combat style choices, you may need to tweak my spread a little bit. Luckily, you will use the Ring of the Erudite, which grants a huge magic bonus to you. Also, you will reduce the cost of illusion spells through perks and items, so even without much focus on magicka, you will never run out of it. Health will be a problem mainly due to a rather low armor rating. Of course, you can use a mod like Honed Metal, for example, to improve your armor even without the skill. Without it though, you will need to boost your health through enchantments and try to deal with your enemies as fast as possible, or keep them at bay with your fear spells. Now for the skills, of which the most important is the Illusion School. Just take everything there, with a possible exception of the Rage perk. Yeah, dual casted route spell with all the perks and the Amplify Illusion enchantment from Summermyst affects pretty much everything but the dragons, and you will eventually use Bend Will on them, so there's no being in Tamriel to resist your dominating presence in the late game. I always knew Illusion is awesome, just didn't know how much awesome it is up to this very point. In enchanting, you only need the middle branch to get the extra effect perk in the most cost-effective way. Insightful Enchanter will be very useful, as you vitally need some cost reduction on fear spells and increase in damage dealt by your weapons. As has been said, a lot of this character's power comes from combining Summermyst enchantments, and using Black Souls of Men and Mer to boost yourself seems to go very well with the theme of the Nazgul. In One-Handed Tree you need to take just the perks that support dual wielding, some ranks in Armsman, Fighting Stance, Savage Strike and Critical Charge. Critical Charge will be quite critical in closing the gap between you and fire mages or dragons, as you will be very vulnerable to fire damage. Generally prioritize the perks that would let you deal with your enemies at rapid rate, as you would normally do with dual wielding characters. The same goes for light armor, which is needed mainly for the Windwalker perk, as it combines so well with stamina-hungry builds and helps a lot with the problems of attribute spread for hybrid characters like this one. Without smithing or honed metal mod, your armor rating is unlikely to ever exceed 300 points, which isn't that great if you want to stay in melee for longer. Anytime you plan to face your enemies head-on, you should consider using Drain Vitality Shout on as many enemies at a time as you can. It will help you regain your attributes much faster, and you don't have that many means to heal yourself. You may also use the Become Ethereal Shout paired with the appropriate Pathurnax meditation to get some of your health back if things go wrong. Also, as a master illusionist, you can always use invisibility to disappear mid-combat and hide. Speaking of which, you may also put some perk points in sneak. If you are going to disappear in combat, you may as well do it properly. Muffle perk with the Muffle spell and invisibility, for example, can make you completely undetectable as if you just passed to the realm of the spirits for a few seconds. And since you can do that quite aptly, why not take the Backstab perk as well to make some deadly use out of it? It's not crucial, but it introduces some more diversity to your already quite diverse combat style. You can still use this skill with no perks at all and be quite successful. Neglecting sneak perks will mean you can complete the build at level 40. Okay, now for the items. Yeah, there is a lot of them, and most of them are player enchanted and game items. So there will be some tough choices to make early game in order to survive up to the point when you can get all of them. Prioritize fear and poison over time enchantments for your weapons and you will be just fine. The only item you will not craft yourself will be the Ring of the Erudite, which you can get through a side quest for the Volkihar vampires. It will grant you a huge bonus to your magicka, which is great for your vastly buffed fear spells. Your weapons will be deadly, cursed with poisons and fear. As soon as you get the extra effect perk, place 2 Summermyst Enchantments, poison damage and disease damage, on your Morgul blade. The former applies up to 18 points of poison damage per second for 10 seconds. The latter is 5 points of damage per second for 31 seconds. Yeah. And that's assuming, of course, you have your enchanting maxed out and used the enchanter's elixir. This means basically that you can strike your enemy, scare them off with a fear spell and just forget about them. On your sword you will place the standard fear enchantment as well as the hidden serpent effect from Summermyst. Hidden Serpent will halve the target's HP if it leaves combat in 440 seconds, as they will be all soiling their pants at your side. It is quite likely they will leave combat, especially if you decide to go invisible after hitting them with this mighty weapon. Only the strongest fighters will be able to withstand the Dark Rider's fury of blows, and if they do, you will drain them dry with a shout or fend them off with a spell. But that's not all. Your main power lies in your Dark Robe, which is actually a light armor piece, and it holds 2 insanely powerful effects. First, the Death Shroud effect, which will slay an enemy instantly if they linger for too long within 30 feet from you, and the chance of it happening is based on your relative levels. This is insane, guys, especially in conjunction with the Ritual Stone, which will summon all the hostiles you just casually walked by as spirits in the next battle. However, the other enchantment called Influence Fear will cast fear at random at targets within 30 feet that are still somehow alive. So they will escape to die of magical poison you just used. This is truly terrifying. But on top of all that, we will also have Amplify Illusion and Fortify Illusion effects on our circlet, so that we can have cheap spells and bring the max level of enemies affected by our route spell up to 60. So basically nobody can resist your fear spells, and it is as it should be for a Nazgul. If they stay close for too long, they die. If they flee, they also die, but in a more painful manner. And if they survive all that, at least their remaining HP is halved. This is why you don't screw the Witch King. Oh yeah, and in the remaining item slots, remember to buff your one-handed light armor, magicka and health. Should be easy enough. Now, all that remains is to show you the list of spells and shouts. I think I mentioned all of them already, but just to keep it all in order, here they are. If you have some difficulties training your illusion, you could supplement your fear-inspiring capabilities with the Dismay Shout, which will be useful before the build is complete. Generally, I hope you see how it all works already. The playstyle is simple yet diverse, and you always have a choice between the direct combat and a more sneaky approach, as is expected with a Master Illusionist. The funniest aspect of the build is the impeccable panic that follows him everywhere, affecting almost everything and everyone. Even immersive creatures, super giants, will run away if you have all items ready and cast your route spell with both hands. You will have several combat stances at your disposal. One is sneaky, with the repeating use of invisibility to confuse your enemies and cut throats willy-nilly. The other involves having your Morgul blade in your left hand and the Witch King's sword in your right. When fighting like this, remember about the Drain Vitality Shout. Another cool stance involves having Morgul blade in the right hand and route spell in your left. That way you apply this overwhelming ongoing damage with a single hit and then scare them off. And then you just wait. Oh, and there will always be some spirits of those you killed in previous fights rushing to your aid, so yet another trick is to enter combat, go invisible and wait for your Death Shroud effect and your minions to do the job. Actually, there's plenty more things you can do in combat with this guy, but I think you've got the point. Yes, you are a walking dread, an embodiment of fear, and none can stand against you. At least, no living man. So I hope you will play the hell out of this one, and sorry for another OP build. I just can't help myself. What can you do? There are synergies just laying all over Skyrim. How could I resist? Anywho, have heaps of fun and come back for more powerful, original, inventive and generally awesome builds. We will see each other again. Bye bye.